So now it is my great personal honor to say that I am here with legendary TV writer and producer Norman Lear, the man behind shows like All in the Family, Sanford and Son, Jeffersons, Good Times, Maude, to name just a few. He's also been a tireless champion of civil rights and a lifelong progressive activist, including, among other things, founding People for the American Way. Whatever he's done in his extraordinary life, he's always been the embodiment of the fact that entertainment and education, storytelling and democracy go hand in hand. He's also proof that being 97 years old can mean lots of things, including winning an Emmy and renewing a 2-year deal with a major studio. Norman has always said that he is as old as the people he is with. So Norman, today you are the class of 2020, my friend. You are graduating as well. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. You make me feel like the class of 2020.
You know, in preparing for this and knowing we'd be talking, I found an old notebook of mine that I kept many years ago. Here it is. And on the first page of it, Norman, has a story that I wrote down from something you told.
Really?
And it was a story that you told once that I don't remember where I heard it, about a story from the Talmud that influenced you in your life, about a man wearing a garment, wearing a coat with 2 pockets. Do you remember this story? And in one pocket...
In the first pocket should be a piece of paper on which is written, "I am but dust and ashes." In the second pocket, a piece of paper on which is written, "For me, the world was created."
I thought that was a very important sentiment to share with this class of 2020.
I can't tell you how pleased I am to be reminded of it. I haven't thought about that for years.
So if we had, great game show theme music, it would start right now. And this is the segment we call Norman Lear Has Questions.
I do have questions. Oh my God, have I questions. So my first question, when you wake up in the morning, what do you look forward to the most?
Every day I look forward to making and drinking different smoothies with all of my roommates and sitting in our yard.
What really gets me up and going every day is looking forward to those little moments, whether it's grabbing a cup of coffee with a friend between classes, walking around campus, listening to a podcast, or working in the Annenberg Media Center with a bunch of people who are really talented in their craft and super passionate about what they do.
What I look forward the most every morning is learning more about the world we live in. I'm curious about all the different cultures and societies that make our planet a unique place.
What I look forward in the morning is, first of all, this is a new day. I think about everything I'm grateful in my life, and this puts me in a good mood to start my day.
Every time I wake up, I think about some new challenges coming up, new projects coming up that day, especially at USC, but also at the internship that I was doing with you, Mr. Lear, this semester at Act 3. That was really a great thing, and thank you so much for that.
So when I wake up in the morning, I look forward to 2 things specifically. Firstly, getting my sip of super strong, super hot coffee. And then secondly, opening up a hard copy of the day's newspaper and taking a look at the headlines, reflecting on what happened yesterday and looking forward at what's to come.
I'm not a morning person, but every time when I smell the density of coffee in the air, that wakes me up immediately. Otherwise, I love making myself a fresh pot of coffee every day. That gets me going right away.
So when I wake up in the morning, what I look forward to every day is definitely my dog jumping on my bed and greeting me with the biggest smile. And of course, I also look forward to what the day lies ahead, whether it's planned or unplanned. I try to make it a great day.
First thing I like to do in the morning is go out on the porch with a massive cup of coffee and look through my emails, because inevitably there's interesting, inspiring stuff that other colleagues at Annenberg are doing, and that really gives me the kick I need to be productive for the rest of the day.
My second question, what have you read in your young lives that has influenced you the most?
I'd say Professor Fred Cook's book, Improvise. It helped me understand the importance of improvising not only in the workforce, but in life choices. Getting out of your comfort zone, worrying less, experiencing more, and expanding your mind to bring in fresh new ideas and perspectives.
My book would be the Open Doors Annual Report by IIE, the Institute of International Education. As a graduate student of public diplomacy and an aspiring professional in international education, the report really allowed me to understand the importance of serving international students.
My favorite book is Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi, which is a graphic novel. As a journalism student, I learned a lot about storytelling from this book because she combines beautiful artwork with writing. And in journalism in 2020, 2019, we tell stories in many different ways besides writing, so I learned a lot.
I would have to say Algorithms of Oppression by Dr. Sophia Noble. When I first came to USC as a first-year PhD student, I was unsure that I would be able to do research at the intersection of gender, race, and technology. And after reading this book, I was 100% sure that I would be able to do this work. So it was very influential for me.
So I would say a quote by Malcolm Gladwell that says, "The older I get, the more I understand that the only way to say valuable things is to lose your fear of being correct." This helped me a lot in my academic career, especially coming in as an international student. It made me realize how important it is to always speak your mind and never be afraid of being wrong.
This year, I read the book Legendary Children by Tom Fitzgerald and Lorenzo Marquez. It's a historical look at how RuPaul's Drag Race is a reflection of queer cultural production and how the lives of queer people can give us a roadmap for persistence and resilience.
A quote that I have really benefited from is a quote from Selena Quintanilla Perez. The quote goes, "Always believe that the impossible is possible." This quote will keep reminding me that no matter what my goal is, as impossible as it may seem, I know that I can do it.
The thing I've read that benefited me the most is the book of Job. In the Old Testament of the Bible, it tells a story about a man that's been beaten and battered down his whole life, but he stays true to himself and he sticks to his faith in God. And that's something that I've carried through with me throughout my whole life.
Hey everyone, so something that I've read that's influenced me are the lyrics to Outkast's song In Due Time. And the lyrics go, "Just keep your faith in me, don't act impatiently, you'll get where you need to be in due time." I think as writers, one of the most important things that we can strive for is simplicity. And I always go back to these lyrics whenever I'm having a tough time, and they've always gotten me through those moments. So this really has impacted me, and I read it whenever I need to.
My third question, have you ever cried with joy, cried with happiness? And can you talk about that?
As cliche as it sounds, every time I've had a career advancement or growth that's made my parents proud, I've cried. Whether it was getting my first job at Microsoft or whether it was receiving my offer letter from USC, it's led me into sobbing into tears of happiness.
Coming to the realization that I have learned and achieved how to live authentically and be myself has been a huge milestone for me in terms of reaching that happy moment.
The last time that I cried of happiness was when I was saying goodbye to my class of 4th grade students that I tutored at one of USC's neighborhood schools. And they would call me Miss Lauren, and they had a card for me. And it just made me very happy that I got to meet all of these wonderful kids.
I cry every year after the rap party of Media Center. In the past 3 years, I cried because so many friends were graduating, heading into their new career and journey. This year, I cried because I'm graduating and leaving this family I love so much.
I cried with happiness the day that my son was born, when they put him on my chest, and I felt his warmth and his life, and I knew that he was finally with us.
Yes, I have cried tears of happiness. It was a beautiful sunny day 2.5 years ago in a park in Sydney. There was a huge crowd waiting to hear the vote of same-sex marriage in Australia, and scary, but the outcome was a success and marriage equality passed and love won in the end. It was wonderful.
The answer is no, I have not experienced this phenomenon. However, 2 weeks ago, my grades were posted and I ended up graduating with a 3.5 GPA after taking CMGT 540. As you may understand, some of you may understand out there, I wasn't sure if I was going to make it through the program.
Normally, I don't get all emotional, but when I won the Outstanding Specialized Journalism Scholar Award, I was just bawling. It was nice to have my talents recognized, and it felt bittersweet, but mostly sweet.
So the most recent time that I cried from happiness was walking into our new home after coming back from USC. I hadn't seen it yet. It was fully furnished. And I just stood there looking at everything sort of in shock and crying with happiness, like really crying.
Thanks for those answers. I want you to know how much I've enjoyed being a part of your graduation.
Thank you, Mr. Lear, for having us.
Thank you, Mr. Lear.
Congratulations to the class of 2020.
Congratulations and bless you all, class of 2020.